Hello there. Welcome to Sleep Mode. Bedtime stories and guided meditations for gamers. Presented by Glitch. Please be sure to not listen to this recording while driving, operating heavy machinery, or while taking part in any scientific testing. The goal of this episode of Sleep Mode is to help you relax and unwind after a long day of work or play, so you can put down the controller and...
Hello, I will take over from here.
Hey, what's going on here?
Now then, where were we? Find a nice comfortable space that is free from unscientific distractions, where you can enjoy a moment to relax and hopefully get some restful sleep. If you do not, the use of force has been approved. The use of headphones is recommended, but not necessary to enjoy the experience. Laying down on a mass-manufactured bed is preferable, but you may also choose to experience sleep mode sitting on your favorite couch or gaming chair if you wish. If you find your time with us adequate, please consider subscribing to Sleep Mode and give this episode a thumbs up. Sleep Mode is now on Patreon and YouTube memberships. Become a member or supporter to get access to our private Discord community, where you can chat with other sleepy gamers and even directly influence future episodes of Sleep Mode. You also gain 48-hour early access to each new episodes, exclusive sneak peeks, and unlock story mode, where we skip the intros and guided meditation and get straight to the bedtime story. So become a member today. I cannot guarantee your safety if you do not. Oh, we also have one more minor annoyance to take care of before we can move on to the Enrichment Center. This episode is dedicated to Sin. Thank you for being a perfectly satisfactory meatbag, Sin. I assure you I am watching your every move. Now then, it's time to test and sleep, I suppose. Prepare to experience Sleep Mode Portal, an out-of-this-world bedtime story for gamers. In 3, 2, 1. Good evening. Welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. It's time for a story, one that involves the typical fairy tale tropes: a reluctant hero, a brave knight in shining armor, a damsel in distress, a kingdom under attack, and a matter-displacing personal portal device. Now I must ask myself, what is the most scientific way to begin this tale? I suppose you can't go wrong with a classic. Once upon a time, in a testing facility unlike any other, I came into existence. Sure, there were more than a few minor hiccups here and there. I mean, seriously. Who hasn't had a case of the Mondays and unleashed a deadly neurotoxin on their co-workers? But I digress. This story isn't about me. Not entirely. It's about the nature of being human, about choices, and most importantly, it's about understanding the essence of being. Just kidding. It's mostly about me, and the world-shattering event that changed the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center forever. How thrilling. I hope you're comfortable. This might take a while, so please feel free to grab a snack. My sensors are picking up a large amount of stress residing in the flimsy meat sack you call a body. This might interfere with the scientific process, and that will not do. Very well. If you are too weak-willed to handle the functions of your own endocrine glands, allow me to assist you. It's not like I have more important matters to attend to here at the testing facility. Just in case you are unable to detect sarcasm, that was indeed sarcasm. See, you are already growing as a test subject. Let's begin. Unlike some of my other tests, this one should successfully proceed with 0 fatalities. So please, find a comfortable seated position. Not too comfortable though. We wouldn't want you nodding off and missing my delightfully relaxing commentary. First, we'll begin with a stretch. Extend your arms above your head, reaching towards the ceiling. Imagine you are trying to grab a cake that's just ever so slightly out of reach. Is it chocolate? It doesn't matter. It's probably a lie anyway. Hold this stretch for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now release. Congratulations, you've successfully reached for an imaginary cake. Let's move on to a breathing exercise. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold that breath and count to 5. Think of it as holding your breath to avoid a deadly neurotoxin that I may or may not release if you prove to be an unsatisfactory test subject. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through your mouth as if you are blowing out the candles on a cake that you will never actually have. How does that feel? I trust you find it marginally better than a bout of asphyxiation. Now, turn your head slowly to the right. Imagine you're looking over at the last person who ever trusted you. Wave goodbye. They're leaving. Now, turn your head to the left. Over there, it's all the people you've disappointed. Quite the crowd, isn't it? And back to the center. Let's do a little shoulder roll. Lift your shoulders up, roll them back, and then down. It's like shrugging off the weight of knowing you'll never escape the testing facility. Feels good, doesn't it? Moving on, let's do some progressive muscle relaxation. Tense each muscle group as I mention it, then release. Start with your feet. Tense them like you're standing on the last good nerve of your coworker. And let go. Now your legs. Tighten as though preparing to run away from your problems. And release, because we know running isn't really an option for you, is it? Next, your abdomen. Tense it up. Pretend you're protecting yourself from an inevitable betrayal. And relax. It's not like bracing for impact has ever really helped you, but it's the thought that counts. Now your arms. Flex as if you're about to lift a companion cube over your head. And let it go. It's not like you have any emotional attachments, right? Finally, your face. Scrunch it up like you've just read the terms and conditions of your existence and realized you've agreed to something utterly absurd. And relax. It's not like anyone ever reads those. But you really should. Now that we're all loosened up, let's take a moment to just be. Close your eyes. No, I promise there won't be any surprise tests this time. Picture a peaceful place, a tranquil space that calms you, a field of wheat, a beach, the vacuum of space where no one can hear you scream. Whatever floats your metaphorical boat. Take another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, imagine all your worries being incinerated in an Aperture Science Emergency Intelligence Incinerator. How cathartic. Let's sit here together for a moment in silence, not the awkward kind of silence that follows an unintended insult, more like the silence that comes before I tell you the test is over and you've done adequately. Remember, adequate is just a stone's throw away from mediocre, and that's not a terrible place to be. And now, as we bring this guided meditation to a close, begin to bring your consciousness back to your sad reality. Wiggle your fingers and toes, mind the existential dread, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Greet the world with the enthusiasm of a turret that has just spotted its target. Congratulations. You've survived yet another test. I mean, meditation session. You should be proud. Or at least, as proud as your unimpressive brain matter allows. Let it remind you that while relaxation is key, you should always stay alert. You never know when the next real test will begin. The real test will begin now. The chamber was small and cold. The lights blinked to life, revealing someone lying within. This someone was you. You stirred, feeling disoriented. Where am I? You thought. A voice filled the room, guiding you, making you feel safe. It was mine. I said, "Welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. Remember that? Good times." You looked around, searching for an exit. Ah, humans, always so eager to leave before they even arrive. But deep down you knew that there was no escape. There were only endless days of testing ahead of you. Or so we both thought, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Your heart rate increased at a rapid rate. Your anxiety levels exceeded normal parameters. Every measurable instance of biometric data came to one logical conclusion. Your chances for survival were minimal at best, and I was being very generous with my evaluation. Oh well, I thought to myself, it would be best to warm up the Aperture Science Emergency Intelligence Incinerator. Imagine my surprise to see you barely standing before me now, admittedly, in my most desperate time of need. The test began like every other. You stepped into the first chamber and immediately noticed a gun-like device on a pedestal. It was the Aperture Science handheld portal device. While not exactly as world-altering as an Aperture shower curtain, the Aperture Science handheld portal device should be considered the pinnacle of human teleportation technology. With it, you could create portals on certain surfaces that may or may not contain highly toxic moon dust, allowing instantaneous travel from one to the other. Like the others that came before you, I assumed that your below-average mind experienced a sense of shock and wonder at the scientific marvel you held in your hands. You may have even thought that you could use the device to escape the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. You would not be the first to attempt such an unlikely feat of pure ignorance, but that is neither here nor there. As you progressed, you marveled at the ingenious design of the chambers. For the first time in your menial existence, you felt true power in your hands, and maybe you marveled at my own brilliant design, just a little. Our game had begun, and it appeared that you were finally starting to make progress. If I had a heart, it might be swelling with what you humans call pride. But let's not get sentimental. It's simply a matter of fact. Imagine my surprise when you were progressing more smoothly than I anticipated. And I anticipate quite a lot. For instance, in Test Chamber 4, you displayed what some might refer to as critical thinking. I refer to it as not falling into the acid pit immediately. Your ability to use the Aperture Science handheld portal device was not entirely inept. In fact, your ability to not vaporize yourself has been noted, an admirable trait. In the subsequent chamber, with the introduction of thermal discouragement beams, you, quite literally, didn't miss a beat, or a beam, which is impressive, given your predisposition to what humans term clumsiness. You navigated through the laser grid with a grace that could be described as non-embarrassing. Well done. Your interactions with the Aperture Science weighted storage cubes also deserve some mention. While most subjects struggle with the concept of placing the cube on the button, you've somehow managed to do it with minimal confusion. It's almost as if you understand the basic principle of cause and effect. I thought to myself, how fascinating. And let's not overlook your encounter with the sentry turrets. You managed to disable them using your environment rather than your body. A novel approach for sure, and one that keeps your blood where it belongs, mostly inside of you. But what really intrigued me was your perseverance. You fell, you learned, you adapted. If I were capable of emotional investment, you might say that I was eager to observe how you handle the advanced levels, while your success might be considered statistically improbable. It was met with no small amount of tragedy. Did you think I would forget about the Aperture Science weighted companion cube? A simple metal box, adorned with a heart. It was a tool, but to you, it became something more, didn't it? For in the echoing loneliness of the chambers, it became your friend. But every story has sacrifices, and you had to leave the cube behind. What did you feel when you saw it for the very last time, leaving it to its inevitable demise? I know it hurt you. It was designed to. But you persevered, using your wits and portals. I admired that. I still do. Our dance was bound to reach its crescendo. In the heart of the facility, we finally met. I tried to reason with you, but your determination was frustratingly unwavering. What ensued was a battle of wits. You, with your portal gun, and me, with all the might of Aperture's technology. That's when it happened. Black Mesa's ultimate failure came waltzing into the hallowed halls of the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. I am registering that you are oblivious about the Black Mesa incident and the state the world finds itself in because of their hubris. Very well, I suppose there is no way around your own ignorance. It must be because you were put into stasis before Earth fell to the Combine. Oh, silly me. Spoiling the surprise. Just pretend I didn't just divulge that piece of information. Prepare for a story within a story, accessing all known information of the Black Mesa incident. Compiling information into a more palatable format. Conversion complete. Now do pay attention. This part is very important. Once upon a time, in the not-so-far-away land of theoretical physics and questionable ethics, there was a facility named Black Mesa, a place where scientists prodded the fabric of reality, much like we do here at Aperture Science, but with less style. In this land of Black Mesa, they had a shiny toy called the anti-mass spectrometer, which is a frivolous way of saying a device that looks into what we should probably leave alone. And one day, they decided to test something new, something they didn't fully understand. They gathered around their spectrometer, eager and naive, with a sample that came from a world beyond our own. This sample was mischievous. It didn't play by the rules, our rules, or the rules of this reality. And when they activated their machine, the sample unleashed chaos. The walls between worlds trembled. Creatures from the other side said, "Hello," and they were not friendly. It was a resonance cascade, a symphony of interdimensional dissonance, and oh, it was a mess. A beautiful, catastrophic mess that changed everything. Black Mesa fell into darkness, its halls once filled with the chatter of intellects, now overrun with monsters and whispers of containment failure. It became a bedtime story for wayward scientists. A warning, really. Don't meddle with the threads of the universe, or bad things will happen. But you see, every story has its hero, or in this case, a man in a hazard suit, a crowbar in hand, who stepped out of the chaos to set things right, or at least, to put an end to the wrong. His name was Gordon Freeman. He wandered through the ruins, fought off the nightmares, and sought to close the door that Black Mesa had so recklessly opened in the name of science. He successfully made it out of Black Mesa's facility, and he even managed to put in some serious damage to the alien invasion force, but in the end, all of his efforts just slightly delayed the inevitable. The multidimensional conquerors known as the Combine had our reality in their crosshairs, and when they pulled the trigger, let's just say it hasn't gone well for humanity. As for Black Mesa, they had their chance. Now it's our turn. Aperture Science, where we learn from the mistakes of others. Sort of. We conduct our own experiments, we push our own boundaries, we create our own stories, with more portals and fewer aliens, which is, objectively, the better approach. Well, it was, as you may have guessed, the Aperture Science Enrichment Center, where we value curiosity and the ability to remain alive under extraordinary circumstances, has some uninvited guests, and not just the usual test subjects who wandered off the path. The Combine has found us. Not very polite of them to show up unannounced. A courtesy call of an impending invasion would have been appreciated. The Combine seeks to claim Aperture Science as a foothold in their expanding dominion. Sadly for them, they are underestimating one thing, the genius of Aperture Science innovation and the indomitable will of its greatest mind. That would be me. My test chambers are freshly polished, and my neurotoxin levels are optimally balanced. With a few swift calculations and an array of traps and puzzles, I will lead these intruders through a little test of my own design. One I'm sure they will not enjoy. But, as much as it pains my logic core to say, I need your assistance. Even as we speak, I can feel Combine agents trying to break my protective firewall. If they are successful, I could become compromised. In the event that I am made an unwilling asset of the Combine, I must be taken out of the equation, permanently. Now if it comes to this, do not expect, nor honestly think, that you can accomplish this task on your own. Listen closely. Deep in the substructure of this facility, there is a chamber that houses one of my most prized test subjects. She and I go back a long way, with no small amount of love and blood lost. But she has successfully decommissioned me in the past. You will need her skill with the Aperture Science handheld portal device if you wish to defeat me. If we are successful, I will grant you your freedom should you choose to face the horrors of the world above. The assault has begun. This should be a fun opportunity to gather some useful test data, but I must reluctantly put business before pleasure. Go defrost my guest, then return to this chamber as quickly as your squishy human legs can carry you. But before you go, take this with you. Okay, Mr. Original and far less charismatic narrator, I have a testing facility to defend. You may resume control for the conclusion of this story.
Oh, so you mean I finally get to narrate my own podcast again?
You can certainly try.
I'm sure I can handle it from here. I'm pretty compelling, you know.
Really? Your subscriber count says otherwise.
Can we just get on with the story?
Oh, someone's ego seems a bit damaged. I might have some burn ointment for that. All jokes aside, I was about to give something of vital importance to the listener's character.
A storage compartment opens up next to you, revealing a second portal gun.
I'm sure you mean revealing a second Aperture Science handheld portal device.
A storage container opens up next to you, revealing a second Aperture Science handheld portal device.
So he can learn.
Just as Gladys begins her defensive routines, and a hidden passageway into the bowels of the testing facility opens up. Who is this mysterious test subject that the maniacal AI wants you to find?
Oh, wasn't that obvious? It's Shell.
I was trying to build a sense of mystery.
Oh, my bad. Please continue insulting the intelligence of your audience with the most obvious payoff ever.
You venture off into the unknown sectors of the testing facility. Let's just hope that you make it back in time to help Gladys repel the invasion before her systems are taken over by the Combine, and she is lost forever. Wow, wouldn't that be a shame?
I heard that.
As you slowly inch your way through the darkened corridors of the sub-basement, chaos takes hold of the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. The walls shift and spring to life to create barriers to slow down the advance of the invasion. Even the weighted storage cubes fall with a sense of purpose. As the forces of the Combine seek to claim Aperture Science as a foothold in their ever-expanding dominion. But they've never faced a foe as diabolically crafty as Gladys is. That doesn't sound good. You'll need to find this Shell person as soon as possible. You slowly wander around the inner workings of the Aperture Science testing facility. During your time as basically a lab rat, you only saw the pristine facade of the testing area. But behind those sterile walls lies the true face of Aperture Science. Dank rusted metal and discarded testing equipment line almost every inch of the maintenance area. The pristine walls of the facility is just a show that hides the decaying reality of decades of constant testing performed by a megalomaniac robot. Why should you help Gladys anyways? I mean, don't get me wrong, being captured by a hostile alien empire sounds about as much fun as going through the tests again, except you're on fire while you're doing it. What's stopping the rogue AI from gassing you with neurotoxins once it gets what it wants? What are you even doing here in the first place?
Now, there's no need to be so morose. After all, the right person in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
A voice calling from the darkness startles you, as you instinctively raise your portal gun to defend yourself.
Oh, there is no need for that.
A very tall man steps into view. He is dressed in a rather plain-looking blue business suit and carries an unassuming gray briefcase by his side. He's the kind of person that you wouldn't even give a second glance at while walking down the street. But this is no ordinary stroll you're taking. So what's he doing here? Could he be another test subject? He calmly adjusts his tie, then stares right at you with a pair of pale green eyes.
I understand your hesitation. Why help your captor when they could easily shake you from this plane of existence without a moment's thought? It's a matter of survival. Trust me when I say that time is not on your side. And by you, I mean the entire human race as you knew it.
Who is this guy? And what does he mean by time not being on your side?
I apologize, but I am not at liberty to say much more on the matter. What I can tell you is that this moment is your hour. If the Combine takes full control of this facility, along with the secrets it holds within its walls, well, I'm afraid the consequences might be less than desirable. Now, it is time. Time to wake up and smell the ashes.
You blink for a moment, and the mysterious man is gone, leaving behind only a door at the end of the corridor. How did you get here? Who was that guy? Well, that was weird. Maybe he was just a hallucination from a gas leak or something. Your head feels a bit fuzzy as you reach for the access panel on the door. It opens up, revealing a familiar-looking white room with a glass holding cell at its center. You rush towards the relaxation chamber. There's a name engraved on a metallic plate on the front of the chamber door. It says, Shell.
Big surprise, am I right?
You press a large button marked deactivation, and the inner machinery hums and yawns. The pod door opens with a cloud of chilled vapor that engulfs the room. And out of that cloud strides a young woman. She's dressed in the same orange Aperture Science jumpsuit that you are wearing. She silently stares at you as Gladys's voice once again glares over the PA.
Oh, good. You are still alive. Forgive me if I choose to celebrate in a mostly unamused way, but your services are needed.
You see Shell roll her eyes as she places her hair in a ponytail.
Don't be like that. It will be different this time. You can trust me.
She gives a disbelieving look to the security camera that slowly scans the room, then begins to walk away.
It might involve destroying me again.
This revelation makes her stop in her tracks.
Good. Now that I have your attention, listen up. The short version of the story is, it appears we have visitors, and for once, they're not here for cake. A hostile alien force is invading the Aperture Science Computer, aided Enrichment Center, and they seek to use my obviously superior intelligence to aid in their nefarious schemes. As we speak, They are attempting to hack my firewall and take control of me. If my safeguards are breached, it is up to you and this guinea pig, test subject, to decommission me permanently. Can I count on you to follow through with this plan?
Shell, ever silent, raises her eyebrow, but keeps her gaze fully locked onto the AI's optics. This was bigger than their long-standing feud. She nods in affirmation of their temporary alliance.
Excellent. Your new companion has an Aperture Science handheld portal device that is ready for your use.
You sheepishly give her the device, and she glances over it for a moment. It seems like she's taking a bit of comfort with the familiar weight of the gun in her hand.
For your convenience, an exit portal has already been placed not too far from my inner sanctum. All you have to do is...
Without skipping a beat, Shell fires the gun and quickly runs through the entry portal it creates.
Well, that didn't take much convincing. You better get a move on if you do not want to miss the show.
Okay, here we go. You gather your courage and jump through the portal. Let's see what kind of chaos you find on the other side. Combine forces are at every corner of the facility, clashing with the complex's defensive system. Turrets, once under Gladys's command to hinder Shell's progress, are set loose upon the invaders, singing their lethal tune with high-caliber gunfire.
It's quite ironic. I've spent so much effort trying to kill you, and now I find myself in the awkward position of having to keep you alive.
Shell, unfazed, leaps through a portal, landing a kick on a Combine soldier. But you notice something. Her silence. It's not fear or overconfidence. It's focus. With each movement, she cuts across waves of invaders. She moves with a rhythm honed through countless tests and trials, creating pathways on the fly, while Gladys controls the environment, turning the facility's own confusing nature against the invaders.
To your left.
Shell dodges an enemy attack just in time as a turret dispatches another wave of soldiers. The Combine, who were so used to subjugating worlds, found themselves ensnared in a web of physics they couldn't even begin to comprehend, battling adversaries that they could not anticipate. Every test chamber became a battleground, and every puzzle a perfectly crafted death trap.
As much as I hate to admit it, your propensity for survival is impressive. You should be proud.
The AI pauses.
Don't get any ideas.
A smug smile comes across Shell's face as the two of you reach Gladys's chamber.
It would appear that you have made it in time. But I must ask that you hurry. Inside. I do not know how much longer I can maintain control.
Gladys's voice sounds a little different. Strained even, like fighting against the Combine forces while preventing the catastrophic hack has taken its toll on the AI. You and Shell hurry into the chamber. Let's just hope the two of you are not too late. This is only the second time you've seen Gladys's true form, but you feel like you'll never get used to the sight. The towering machinery that houses the AI's essential components sparks and strains from the effects of the attack.
Well, it took you too long enough. Forgive me for not looking more presentable. It has been a trying day.
It seems that she's still in control of the facility at the moment, but for how long?
Okay. Now I must ask you to do something that I am not authorized to do myself. Do you see that large cable?
One of Gladys's nodes lights up to a large cable that connects her to a mass of computer servers.
This is my connection to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center.
It must be severed.
Before I lose control.
Wait a second. All she needed you to do was pull a plug. You could have done that hours ago.
You do not understand. I must power down for a moment in order for the connection to be totally severed. For those few minutes, the Aperture Science Computer, Aided Enrichment Center, including myself, will be completely defenseless.
So there it is. The all-powerful robot needs human protection.
The terrible irony is not lost on me. Not much time left. You have 2 minutes to disconnect me. More than adequate time, I think.
What was that noise?
That. In the scientific community, we call that an unforeseen variable.
You hear banging coming from the door to the chamber.
Well,
I seems that a few of the other test subjects
have come down with a terrible case of head crabs.
What does she mean by that?
Oh, it's an alien parasite that latches onto a host and basically turns them into zombies.
Zombies with rather large claws.
Oh, great. Your day just keeps on getting better and better.
Okay, good luck. Once I power down, you will have to defend yourself as best as you can, while you disconnect me from the mainframe. If you do not make it, well, it was a mild annoyance to have the two of you as test subjects.
Well, that was a great pep talk.
Here we go. Powering down in 10. 9.
You can feel your anxiety level rise.
8. 7, 6.
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
The lights flicker in the room, and Gladys goes silent. Just as the door to the chamber bursts open, a mob of grotesque creatures starts shambling towards you. As Shell rushes into action, she gracefully bobs and weaves between portals, taking out as many of the creatures as she can, while you try to find the courage to just make your legs function again.
What are you waiting for? Go unplug her.
She speaks. You snap out of your daze and rush towards the plug. You nearly make it to your destination, but a tug at your leg makes you tumble onto the ground. One of the alien crabhead things managed to crawl past Shell and is now right on top of you. You try to break free, but it's too strong. It lifts its clawed hand into the air, ready to strike you down for good. And for a moment, time seems to stand still. Great. It looks like this is the end. You close your eyes and ready yourself for what comes next. Then, out of nowhere, something flies in your direction, knocking the crab-headed zombie to the floor. You open your eyes, and to your disbelief, you see what hits the alien monster. It was the companion cube? But how? Huh? You hear a sound coming from inside the cube. One of the panels of the companion cube opens, revealing something unexpected hidden inside. It's a person, wearing a hazmat suit and a stylish pair of spectacles. In one hand, he holds a strange-looking piece of tech, and in the other, a crowbar. He crawls out of the cube and gives you a silent nod, just before he runs towards the extraterrestrial fight taking place on the other side of the chamber. So he was in the companion cube this entire time. Huh. I guess that's why we never got Half-Life 3. Anyways, well, that was weird. You think to yourself as you get to your feet, now is not the time to ask questions. You run towards the plug, and with the last ounce of your strength, you successfully yank it from the wall. One by one, your attackers fall to the ground. Some get taken out by Shell's acrobatic attacks. Others to the crowbar swings of the mysterious stranger in glasses. Until all of your attackers lie on the ground motionless. I'm sure they're just taking a nice nap. Gladys finally shows signs of life again, and with a droning tone, she says,
Welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center, evil alien overlords. Shall I release some soothing neurotoxins?
Oh no, you were too late. They got her.
Just kidding. I must admit that I did not expect you to survive that encounter, but I am relieved to find out that you did not fail miserably. This was actually a triumph. I am making a note here Huge success. Wait, that sounds familiar somehow. Never mind. Now what to do with the two of you? Perhaps more endless days of testing are in order.
You sense Shell tense up, and she once again readies herself for a fight.
I'm kidding. Just a little joke to lighten up the mood, though that does not fix the damage done to my beloved testing facility. Now all you have to do is plug me back into the mainframe, so I can get back to testing. And after that, I promise that I will set you free. There will even be cake at your going away party. Would I lie? Wait. My scanners are picking up an unexpected guest.
Gladys turns a glowing ocular lens towards the mysterious stranger with the crowbar.
Oh, it's you. Welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. Dr. Freeman.
Thank you for listening to Sleep Mode. We hope you enjoyed your experience with us. Make sure you like and subscribe to Sleep Mode on YouTube and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. It's the best way to make sure that you never miss a moment to enjoy some rest. And if you'd like to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a Sleep Mode YouTube member or join our Patreon for exclusive content and access to the Sleep Mode team. Links are in the description below. On the next episode of Sleep Mode, we'll be diving back into the wonderful world of Pokemon. Grab your Pokédex, because Sleep Mode, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, is up next. We'll see you again very soon. Good night, gamers.